So last Tuesday, we had a ropes course. We took our staff to a staff development ropes course event. How many of you have ever been to like a ropes course? I went to them as a kid, and then as a youth pastor too, and it was always kind of fun. I loved ropes courses. You get to like jump off platforms and grab ropes and do zip lining and everything, and I thought it'd be awesome to put Barbara on a zip line. We didn't end up doing that. Barbara's my administrative assistant. We ended up doing a ropes course that was more fitting for the group as a whole, other than it would have been awesome to see, Barbara scale a big wall and leap off a platform onto a rope and, rescue somebody. That would have been awesome. But we did go out, and it was great. Got to spend some time with the team. We have an amazing staff, amazing staff. I love the people that I get to work with. And so as the morning was coming near the end, doing some team building stuff, my phone started going off, phone calls, text messages, and there was one in particular. It was from my wife, and she said, "Mike, you have to call me. Davey's wife, Amanda, has been shot." And I thought, what? So I called into the office. That's where she was working. Leslie was up there filling in for us as we were out doing our team building stuff. And I heard a little bit of the story, and we were meeting together. And so we had come near the end, and we were sitting down to eat. And I threw my food. I ate it as quick as I could. We prayed together as a staff, and I headed out towards the hospital. As a pastor, you get to, and I say it this way on purpose, you get to be the light and love of Jesus Christ in a lot of hard situations often. I've helped with families through suicide, loss of children, drugs, affairs. You see it in the ministry. It doesn't take long in the ministry, and you just walk into a lot of really hard situations. And I got to be honest, I rode the elevator up to her floor, and as I was walking out, I could feel my pulse begin to race. And I thought, oh man, what do I say? I walked in the room, and it was just a mix of emotions. And in the middle of the room, of course, Amanda's there. And I had a mix of emotions. It felt very personal to me because a pregnant pastor's wife. This one's been harder on our family for sure, just because I don't know. You can't help but put yourself in that spot. And there have been a few times where I've walked into situations, and because it felt so personal, there's a pastor, pregnant wife, all that they're going through, I kind of was at a loss. I didn't even know what to do. That's right, even pastors. Seminary training can only take you so far. And it's way different to read about stuff in a textbook or talk about it in a class and to walk into it. In the real world, it's very different. And so I just stood there quiet. And I know it's awkward, and I feel bad. I've done this to him like 3 times now, and I didn't even want to ask him this morning because I was afraid he'd be like, no, don't do that. But one of our patriarchs, Dr. Jim Blackburn, was there, obviously. Part of the family representing Christ, and he just kind of started representing Jesus well. The little comments that he would make, statements, he sang, the whole room, got us all singing together. And I observed all of this take place, and I ended up talking with Davey for a while, spending time with the family, hang out for a little bit, and then I ended up leaving, and I got in my car, and I was driving, and my dad called me. It doesn't matter how old I get, my dad will always be my dad. For those of you that have older kids, your kids are never going to not be your kids. You're always going to worry about them and care about them. So my dad called me. He knew what was going on, and He was like, hey, are you doing okay? And I basically said, I'm not sure how well I did, but I'm really glad that there are great Christians around me. And my dad said, what do you mean? And I don't even know if he's in this service or not, but I just said, I'm really grateful for tenured saints that love Jesus and have walked through a lot of life. I can't do this alone. I was tearing up driving down the road, and I said, Dad, I'm really grateful for men like Jim Blackburn. When I grow up, I want to be like Jim. And then my dad said something on the phone to me. He said, the bedrock of faith, something along these lines. He didn't say this exactly, but the conversation was basically the bedrock of faith is not that we are strong enough to handle things, like individually, I am strong enough to handle everything. It's that God creates us for community too. And the bedrock of the community must be strong enough. Of the community. See, here's the scary truth. I mean, we say that God won't give us more than we can bear, and that's true in a sense that when He gives us more than what we can bear, He is enough. That's true. But the reality is, we are not enough. Individually, I am not enough. And I promise there are going to come days, there's going to come seasons of your life where you're going to walk into a hardship where you are not enough. You're not enough. Your education won't be enough. Your wealth won't be enough to make you okay. You're going to walk into things where you alone will not be enough. And even as a Christian, you're going to walk into things where you're going, I can't do this. We live in a day and age where it's really popular to not be a part of the church. But the community is very, very, very important. I kind of observed three things after watching this all play out. And I'm not always great at the empathy thing, but man, this hit my heart hard. First, without a doubt, the world is broken, no doubt. I shared that in a blog last week. Second, real faith in Christ is very powerful. Real faith in Christ. I'm not talking about creasters, okay? So I apologize if you're here visiting the church. Sometimes I say things that are offensive. I don't mean to always. It's just the way I'm built. But creasters, like Christians that come just on Christmas and Easter, creasters, right? Love those people. They're great. These are the people that since they were born in America, well, for whatever reason, they think they're Christian, right? Or they go to church, they were like baptized or Catholic growing up, whatever it might be, and if somebody comes up and interviews them and says, are you a Christian? They're going to say yes. But there's no real tangible daily faith, right? They're not walking with God. They just kind of checked off the box at the right age and now they're in. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about fully devoted, passionate followers of Jesus. I'm telling you, in the last week, I have seen the difference that passionate, real faith makes. And it is massive. It is a massive difference. Perfunctory Christianity and real, true, passionate followers of Jesus. The difference is huge. Day to day, when everything's going your way and you're not facing depression or cancer or anxiety or loss of a job, it's really hard to tell the two apart. But man, when the storm rages on, it's then easy to see who you or what you are built on. There's a difference. The next thing I observed is not just real Christianity, but allowing myself to grow in my faith, being committed to the Lord, even when I don't feel like it. See, when things are going well, we're usually not calling out to Him, but it's those times of training and truth that prepare us for the hardship. So it's not just committed Christianity that stood in stark contrast to soft, sissy Christianity. But it was also the incredible difference that is made based on the community you choose to be in. When I was a youth pastor, I used to say this all the time to the teens. I used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. In fact, it was one of those funny sayings I said so often that they kind of like roll their eyes like, oh, it's Pastor Mike again. I didn't care. I still said it a lot. But I'd say, show me your friends and I'll show you your. Yeah, that's the way I did that for like 10 years with students over and over and over again, week in and week out. And every once in a while now, I still get like Facebook messages going, like with the little Mike-isms as they called them. They can make fun of me, that's fine. It got into their head and heart, it worked, right? So fine, make fun of me. But man, I'm telling you, the community that you choose to be in, see, it's not just that you want to follow the Lord, and it's not that you just are passionate for Him, but it's allowing yourself to be a part of a community that is also passionate for the Lord and growing in His truth. Do you see it? Because when that hardship comes, and I'm telling you, I saw it firsthand, tragedy, complete loss. And I watched a community of committed Christians on behalf of Jesus Christ show strength. If you're not in one of our small groups, you need to be. You need to be in community with people sharing life together. You need to be known. You can't just show up on Sunday, disappear in a corner, observe Christianity from a distance and go, yeah, I'm in. You may make it into heaven, but when those hardship comes, when the difficulties come, who is going to be by your bedside? Who's going to lift you up? It's not just that we're supposed to be passionate and strong for the Lord, it's that we are supposed to allow ourselves to be in a community. Now, I get it. Some of you out there might be thinking, it's just awkward for me. I don't care. I mean, I love you and I care about you, but of course some of the great things in your life are awkward. Isn't that always true? Of course, some of the best things that you choose to do with your life are tough and awkward. And choosing to be in community and let people speak into you and hold you accountable and push back, of course that's awkward at times. But I am telling you, I saw it firsthand last week, when you allow that to happen and that community comes around you, it is so beautiful. First, the world is broken. Second, real Christianity makes a difference. Third, we need the community. And I even thought as a dad, the third thing, we need the community. I even thought as a dad in that, I pray that I am not just demonstrating the truth to my kids and giving them a cornerstone of faith. I pray that I am also helping them be in a right community of faith. First Peter 5:6, I cannot believe how well woven together the last few weeks of events and then the texts that we've been studying, how well woven together they are. 1 Peter 5:6, this is the last sermon out of 1 Peter. How cool is that? If you've been with us all the way through, we teach out of the Bible here, straight exegetical out of the Bible. If you're just looking for like encouragement, pump you up, whatever, you can download some self-help book or whatever and listen to it. We're here to examine the Word of God. If you're interested in the Bible, this is the place to be. And if you've been here the last number of weeks, we've walked through all the meta themes of 1 Peter, and it's heavy. And today we come near the end of it. 1 Peter 5:6, let's begin there. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you. Casting all your anxieties on Him. Casting all your anxieties on Him. You can underline that if you're a note taker, highlight it if you're on a program. Because He cares for you. So humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on Him, because He cares for you. The precursor to exaltation is where you put the weight of your life. I love this. This is Dave Holder in 2006. It says, believers who live under God's mighty hand will need to cast all anxiety on Him. That is their only recourse. The word cast implies the idea of throwing on. Then he references Luke 19:35. The identical word, where this is also used in the Bible, is used in the context of throwing clothes on a donkey for Jesus to ride. In similar fashion, every care, concern, and worry is to literally be thrown on God. That's what the word means. I wonder how many sitting out here today have something that they're facing and they bear the weight of it. When you lay in bed at night and you're running through the day, this is the thing that just goes through your mind over and over and over again. Financial struggle, work issue, marital issue, problem with a kid, fear, anxiety, I don't know. But I know that a lot of us, you bear heavy weight. I'm not talking about like picking up a rock. I'm talking about emotional weight. You feel it heavy. And the conclusion of this book of the Bible that's written to Christians who understand suffering, some of these concluding thoughts is literally this idea of, I'm going to take that emotional weight, I'm going to go, God, it's yours. And the word literally is the same word for actually throwing something. I'm going to choose to take this weight, this burden that's been on me, this fear, this anxiety, and I'm going to choose to go, you know what, God, it's yours. And for some of you, you may need to do something even visible for that to happen. Like at the end of the service, you may need to come up and go, you know what, God? I am tired of bearing this weight. I can't do it. God, it's yours. And lay it at the altar. Write it on a piece of paper. Give it to Him. A number of years ago, I met with a young adult. This has probably been, 13, 14 years ago. I was really new in ministry. And this young adult was in college, so I would have been right about his age. He would have been really close to me age-wise. I was just out, he's in college, and he wanted to meet with me, so we sat down and talked. And typical college students, it's really difficult as a young single adult. It's like one moment you're engaged and you're studying like a master's in psychology, and then 2 weeks later, you're single in like corporate sales. It's like your whole life is in like a kid's shaker. It's just going like this all the time, right? And with all of this redirecting constantly happening, man, some of these young adults they really are like a ship without a sail or an anchor. They're just all over the place. And this poor young man comes in to see me. His relationship, he was with a girl, but it was kind of falling apart. He was feeling the weight of school, didn't know what he wanted to do anymore, so he started like down this road of education. And as he comes near the end, all of these years of studying, he's going, I don't know that I want to do that now. Relationship falling apart, doesn't know what he wants to do, beginning to feel depression and anxiety because of it, and then he starts to really struggle with an addiction to pornography. Like as probably tied into that as a result. So that's kind of the thing that tipped him over and said, I need to come and talk. So he sits down, talks with me, he's sharing all of this, and it's just like, he basically says, I don't trust the ability to control myself. I don't trust my emotions. I don't trust my trajectory of life. I'm not sure what I can trust anymore. And he sat in my office and just wept. So I looked at him, and again, I'm always great at the empathy thing. Listen, I've said this 1,000 times. If you need counseling, go to Sharon. For your emotional health, go to Sharon. Because in those settings, I don't think, I'm so sorry you feel bad. Usually it goes on in my head as I'm like logically trying to put this puzzle together. And so I spit things out that maybe are hurtful instead of helpful. Or maybe they are helpful, but they hurt first. I don't know. So I looked at him and I asked my first question. I said, is there anything that you can trust in? Anything that you feel like you really can trust in? Now that's an easy one. That was my, softball. And he sat for a moment and he thought and he goes, well, as a good Christian kid, he grew up in a great Christian home. He goes, well, I feel like He goes, maybe I don't even feel like it now, but I mean, I can trust God. I mean, I've been told that my whole life, and I just have to trust that he's going to make it right one day. I know this in my heart. I don't feel it, but I know it. Jesus, that's what I trust. And so just the next thing straight out of my mouth is, instead of going like, oh, he's going to take care of you, I'm so sorry. Instead of doing that, I just looked straight across the table right at him and I go, is that not enough? Now, again, don't come to counseling for me, or with me, right? Like, go to Sharon. The conversation ended. Not so well. I mean, like, I threw it out there. It wasn't very loving. It wasn't very kind. Very straightforward, straight to the point. And he ended up leaving. Fine. I'll chalk that up as bad counseling. Mike dropped the ball again. Remember what my mom has told me over and over and over again. Refer. With personal things, Mike, make sure to refer. A few weeks later, this young man comes up to me. We had a college service that I helped run. He walks up to me and tears are running down his face. And he walks up to me and says this. He goes, Jesus is enough. He just stood there and wept. And I thought, man, this poor dude's been wrestling with this. For days, he's been wrestling with this. Like, is that really enough? Am I really okay? Am I not okay? I mean, there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish, and so many things I feel like are falling apart. I don't trust the ability to control myself. I don't trust, my emotions and what I want. I don't trust all the stuff I can't trust. Can I choose to trust that God is going to get this one day? He's going to make it right. Can I choose to trust that? And he had to choose to make that choice. Now, here's the thing. It was like his identity, all that made up who he was. Really intelligent kid in school, gonna get married, trajectory of job, people are thinking he's gonna be successful. All these things that made up who he was, it's like they all broke off in just a few weeks. All the way down to can't even control my own desires, and now I'm struggling with an addiction. Broke off. And we got all the way down. God allowed him to go all the way down to the very bedrock of what was going to define him. The very bedrock. You can tell what the bedrock is of your identity based on what you say to yourself when the chips are down in life. So like when things aren't going well, what do you say to yourself? When you're driving home from work, do you go, well, at least I'm smarter than he is? Or when you're having a really hard time with a relationship, whatever it might be, you go, at least I'm a good person? Or do you say to yourself, well, at least, I'm a doctor, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a whatever it might be, and I make good money? I mean, what do you say to yourself when the chips are down? Because this guy allowed everything to be chipped away. Even the part where he could say, well, at least I'm a good person. Because of his addiction, God allowed even that statement to be broken away from him. First Peter 5, 8 through 11. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him firm in your faith, knowing that the same kind of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory, will himself restore. Where does your restoration come from? Glory in Christ will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. To him be the dominion forever and ever and amen. So here it is. He is talking, we got to think through this. Historically, all of these weeks have led up to this powerful concluding, heavy thought by Peter in this book, 1 Peter. They have experienced suffering, they know pain, they know difficulty, physical, social, personal. They know suffering all the way to the end. And then he says that Christ is going to come and he will establish, restore. I love the words that are here. You. There are 4 verbs: restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish. I'm going to invite Josh up and we're going to be done in just a minute. The foundation of true committed Christianity creates a bedrock that is stronger than death. What is your bedrock? Do you trust God will one day make everything right? Now, this comes in two different ways we've discovered from the meta themes of Peter, okay? Here they are. You can't miss this. You choose to pursue what is eternally most important, and you make that first. When times are good and things are working right, you prepare yourself for the difficulties. So here's the deal. You need to do your devotions on the days, you need to call out to God in the days that are good, and it's easy to do. You choose to make church a priority when life is good, because in all those times when things are working right and you're healthy in life, you are laying a foundation. You're building a foundation inside of you. When things are good, you're laying a foundation. You're putting that in place. You're pouring the concrete, establishing who is going to be the core of you, what is going to be the core of your identity. You do that when times are good. You make that bedrock strong. You choose to be in the Word. You choose to be in prayer. You choose to lay that foundation. The other thing, the meta themes of Peter, you choose to be in community with other foundation layers. You choose to be around people who also are putting that foundation down. 1 Peter 5:12-14. By Silvanus, a faithful brother, as I regard him, I have written briefly to you, exhorting and declaring that this is the true grace of God. Stand firm in it. Stand firm, not in your own strengths, not in your own abilities, not in a good life, not in health, not in wealth, not in prosperity. You don't stand firm in those things. You stand firm in the promise of what is to come. And you stand firm with others. By Silvanus, the faithful brother, as I regard him, I have written briefly to you, exhorting and declaring that this is the true grace of God. Stand firm in it. She who is at Babylon, who is likewise chosen, sends you greetings, and so does Mark, my son. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to all who are in Christ. Babylon refers to Rome here. You got to understand their metaphor. This is a call to the Christians who are trying to live for Christ, immersed in Roman culture. Your faith will be attacked in three ways. It will be attacked in temptation to temporal pleasure. That happens, and I think it's one of the most powerful tools the enemy has. It's the temptation to temporal pleasure. I'm going to let go of what's eternally most valuable because it's more fun to do something else. 2, persecution based on what you believe. All right, now this is the hard part when an attack comes to you. And 3, the weight of a fallen world. Sometimes the just weight of the Adamic sin, entropy around us, everything is in decay, becomes so heavy. It's just too much. So, last Tuesday, I walked into a setting that was even too much for me. I was mad. The southern country Oklahoma boy came out in me, and I wanted to punch something. When I stood there in the room with Amanda and the whole family, I'm thinking I need to act like Jesus. And I watched one of our patriarchs do faith well. See, it wasn't just the foundation that Davey had in his life, it was the family. The family. The family. The community of believers who have laid an incredible bedrock of hope. And when we trip, we get tired, the people that we are around can lift us up and hold us. And as I got in the car and drove home, I realized that the situation I was supposed to walk into and lift people up, I was actually being lifted up by them. You need to lay the bedrock of your faith. You need to choose to make it a priority, top priority. When times are good, you lay that bedrock. You show up, you worship, you're in the Word, you're in prayer. You lay that eternal perspective. You set your hope on what is to come. You lay that bedrock, you pour it deep. And you allow yourself to be in community with other people who are laying that type of bedrock too. And when the storm rages through, what's left in you, even if you can't stand, and you know that bedrock's there, but it's just too much, life is too much, and you can't stand, you have people that you've surrounded yourself with that can hold you up. I'm going to say something really clearly, and I know that many won't like it in our modern world. We have accidentally made church all about a production, like going to a play. Now, that's not bad. I think plays are really fun. I like to go to them, and you should do plays in church. Those things are all great. I'm for them. But you are not supposed to observe Christianity from a distance. The church is all about community. It's about being known. It's about building right, healthy, deep friendships. It's about laying personal foundation and being with others that are doing so too. Because I promise, hardship in this world is going to hit us at some point. And this is so beautiful the way it's written by Peter, these meta themes of the text. And so my question to you today is twofold. One, there may be something in your heart that you need to literally throw on God and go, I can't do this. Maybe it's the next time you meet with your small group, in your small group as they're going, hey, how's everybody doing? You just need to go, I am financially falling apart and I need prayer. And you need to take that weight that's been on you and you need to throw it, you need to get rid of it, give it to God and His people and let them be with you. And stop doing this alone. Maybe you're struggling with something, an addiction, and you need to call the office. We'll get you with counselors. We've got great counselors here, guys that I really look up to, like Sharon and David and others. Would love to help you. And maybe throwing it on the Lord means you just make a phone call and you go, you know what, I gotta talk to someone. I don't even trust my own ability to control myself. Help. Maybe you need to cast something before the Lord. And the second thing is this. Maybe you just need to choose. You're in a season right now where life is pretty good. Work is working. Marriage is working. Family life is okay. Finances are okay. And maybe what you need to commit to do now is make Jesus first. I'm going to be committed. I'm going to make Him first. I'm going to lay the bedrock. And I'm going to choose to do so in community. We have 4 more baptisms today. Isn't that awesome? I feel like we're doing baptisms all the time now. It's all great. I love that God is working. We have 4 more today. We're going to do them the end of second hour. I know all you early church people, that's awesome. So one of the ladies who's getting baptized, Andy is her name. She is incredible, one of our young adults here at the church. And she shot a video, and I want you guys to check this out. Go ahead.
I first received Christ in 6th grade at a youth group for my church up in Michigan. And the youth pastor just asked, if you don't know Christ and you want to, come down to the front. And I felt really called to come down and kneel in front of, with everybody. And I had friends there with me and just really ask Jesus into my heart. So it's a day that I'll always remember. Since I've accepted Christ into my life, there's been lots of ups and downs. Through college, I went to a Christian college and always felt in relationship with Christ, but definitely having seasons of Him not being a priority or, getting busy where He wasn't always who I went to pray and read through the Bible. So, and I would say in the last couple months, even year, He's been first, and it feels really great to have Him be first in my life and to let Him be in control and to let Him just take the lead and follow His plan. So I would definitely say now He's more of a rock than He's ever been. What really probably was a big piece, I started coming to Trinity about a year ago, I would say. So the change in Him being a rock has really been, Trinity, and I attend young adult group, who has been such a great relationship, and they really encourage me to question more about God and to learn more and to grow more. And so that's definitely been an amazing thing in my life, and just to connect to other young adults who struggle with the same things that I do. And just really being in the Word more and having my conversation revolve around Jesus and my faith and my relationship with Him, and having a really, really good support system, in young adult and in my friends and in my family has been absolutely amazing, because they've always encouraged me, to be in relationship with Christ. So that's been really great. I would definitely want to encourage others to get involved in some way, and maybe even inviting someone, because if I weren't first invited to come to young adult, I probably would have never got involved with Trinity, maybe as much as I have been, or as much as I look forward to being involved with Trinity. So I would say, don't be afraid to invite someone or to get involved or to be new, because, you got to be comfortable with uncomfortable, and that's how you grow. I think that's how Jesus grows us. So that's definitely a big piece, I would say, is, ask someone to come to church or to group, because that definitely has changed my life. So I want to be baptized today because I feel like it's time to really just shout that I love Jesus. It's, sorry, it's feels like it's been a long time coming, and after college, I church hopped for a while, and so I feel like Trinity is finally home, and I'm finally in a place where I can say, Jesus is my rock. He's, why I go through life, what I wake up for. And so that's why today is the day.